Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we're going to unpack something that I genuinely believe is the single most important economic shift anyone alive right now is ever going to witness. We're talking about a massive, structural reshuffling of who exactly holds wealth on this planet. And I don't mean that metaphorically either. I mean a literal transfer of wealth and the creation of an entirely new rich class. So let's just dive right into this by acknowledging a pretty brutal truth. And that truth is most people are going to entirely miss this. They're going to miss the most important economic shift of our lifetimes. They'll watch it happen, maybe, play around with it a little bit on their phones, but they'll completely fail to position themselves for the massive wealth transfer that is already underway. And history actually proves exactly what's at stake here. Every single major technological revolution follows the exact same pattern. It tears down the old power structure and builds a brand new one. Think about it. The agricultural revolution gave us the landowning elite. Then, the Industrial Revolution wiped out that old feudal system and created machine masters, guys like Rockefeller and Vanderbilt. After that, the Digital Revolution killed off Blockbuster and Kodak to give us tech titans like Jeff Bezos. Every single time, the people who master the new tools get rewarded beyond imagination, and the ones who cling to the old systems, they get punished hard. And right now, we are sitting square in revolution number 4, AI, and it is moving faster than all of those previous ones combined. To understand why this is all happening so incredibly fast, you really just have to look at the sheer scale of the numbers. Back in 2023, the AI market was valued at around $196 billion. But by 2030, projections are putting it at $1.8 trillion. That is a staggering 9 times increase in less than a decade. And honestly, it goes even deeper than that. McKinsey actually estimates that AI could add a mind-blowing $13 trillion to global GDP by 2030. Now, to really wrap your head around a number like $1.8 trillion, let's compare it to the entire gross domestic product of Canada, which sits right around $2 trillion. We are talking about a single, brand new technology sector rapidly growing to the size of one of the world's absolute largest national economies, practically overnight. It's totally wild. But of course, you have to ask, what happens to the global workforce during a shift this massive? Well, a recent Goldman Sachs report projected that AI could automate tasks equivalent to 300 million full-time jobs worldwide. And yeah, that number naturally terrifies people. But here is the thing. Wealth doesn't just evaporate. When jobs get automated, all that capital and the value generated, it doesn't just disappear into thin air. Instead, that wealth actually just moves. The World Economic Forum is projecting that while AI is going to automate a massive amount of legacy work, it's simultaneously going to create 97 million entirely new roles. So the wealth transfers directly to the people who are positioned to capture those 97 million brand new roles that frankly don't even exist yet. And here's the best part. Unlike previous revolutions where you needed to own, a massive factory or a giant server farm to even compete, this shift has a dramatically low barrier to entry. You really don't need to be working at Google or OpenAI to win here. This revolution is empowering 4 very specific categories of winners: the infrastructure builders, the AI-augmented professionals, the AI entrepreneurs, and the AI investors. Now, the absolute sweet spot for everyday people right now is that second category, the AI-augmented professional. This is someone who uses AI to do the heavy lifting while they focus on the high-level thinking. So, for example, a freelance copywriter who used to charge $500 an article, they can now use AI to produce 10 high-quality articles in the exact same amount of time. Or think about a software developer who can now write repetitive, boilerplate code in minutes using an AI assistant instead of burning 80% of their week on it. They aren't working harder, they've literally just multiplied their output and their income. Then you have the AI entrepreneur. These are folks building massive businesses without any engineering or computer science degrees whatsoever. We're talking about real people, like a woman in Austin who's building a $40,000 a month business creating children's books using Midjourney and ChatGPT, or a guy in the Philippines who built a simple software as a service tool, basically a subscription web app, pulling in $15,000 in monthly recurring revenue with 0 employees. We are basically looking at the equivalent of 1997 on the internet, where early adopters are just quietly building these highly profitable empires right from their living rooms. So that brings us to the next section, the great forgetting, and exactly why most people are going to completely miss this generational wealth shift. Because think about it. If the data is this crystal clear and the real-world examples are this profound, why on earth is the vast majority of the population going to miss out on this opportunity? Well, the answer lies in a psychological trap that we call the great forgetting. People just inevitably fall into this cycle. Stage one is denial. Saying, oh, it's just a toy. It can't do real work. Exactly like people said about the internet back in 1995. Then comes stage two, which is slow acceptance. Honestly, this is where most people are right now. They're limiting AI to simple party tricks, like drafting an email or planning a weekend trip. They just don't see it as a serious wealth-building tool yet. And finally, you hit stage three, urgency. This is going to happen 3 to 5 years from now, when the window of opportunity brutally slams shut, and literally every job listing says AI proficiency required. By then, the early adopters are already millionaires, and it's simply too late for everyone else. All right, so how do we pivot away from just awareness and move into action? Here is the 4-pillar playbook to actually master this revolution so you can make sure you don't get left behind in that stage 3 panic. Pillar 1 is simply to skill up. And the absolutely crucial point to understand here is that the most valuable skill for the next decade isn't learning how to write code. It is just knowing how to prompt and direct AI to do exactly what you need it to do. If you spend just 30 minutes a day playing around with tools like ChatGPT for writing, Midjourney for visuals, or 11 Labs for voice, you're going to be ahead of 95% of your competition in just 90 days. It's really that simple. That brings us to Pillar 2, building an AI-augmented income. Now, you don't need to go out and invent some brand new industry. Take what you already know, whether that's teaching, graphic design, fitness coaching, or finance, and ask yourself how AI can collapse the barriers of time and money for you. Use AI to create digital products, online courses, or tools 10 times faster. That efficiency is exactly what allows you to serve 10 times the clients without burning yourself out. Then we have Pillar 3, which is investing in infrastructure. Essentially, you're buying the picks and shovels of the AI gold rush. Remember, if you had invested in an infrastructure builder like NVIDIA just 5 years ago, you'd be up over 2,000% today. You can access these kinds of investments through exchange-traded funds, ETFs, like BOTS or AIQ, or just take direct positions in cloud platform leaders like Microsoft. The rule of thumb here is, if you can't build the gold mine yourself, own the companies that are actually making the shovels. And finally, we have Pillar 4, which I like to call the hidden meta opportunity, building a personal brand around AI. See, the people who are going to command the absolute highest premium prices over the next 5 years won't just be the ones using AI. They're going to be the educators, the coaches, and the guides who lead ordinary people through this massive transition. Teaching others how to navigate this weird new world, that is where tremendous value is going to be captured. To really put all of this into perspective, think about the people back in 1849 who heard about the gold rush in California. The ones who actually succeeded packed up everything they owned, traveled 2,000 dangerous miles through deserts and mountains, literally risking their lives on the mere chance of finding wealth. Contrast that with today. For the AI gold rush, your barrier to entry is literally just opening your laptop or pulling out your smartphone. You don't need massive capital, you don't need fancy credentials, and you absolutely don't need anyone's permission. So the takeaway here is incredibly simple. The new rich class is forming right in front of us, and the barrier to entry has literally never been lower in human history. But as we've seen, this window of opportunity is not going to stay open forever. You now have the awareness and you have the playbook. The only thing left is the decision. So are you going to sit back and wait until it's too late, or are you going to show up?